Yo, what is up, guys? Bobby D7 King here, back again with another video. In this video, we're doing part 2 of the winner rankings, which obviously we've moved from the worst winners of the show, the winners who weren't really main characters of their season, and we're still moving on to pretty bad winners in my opinion, but at least characters who are actually very active in their seasons. So yeah, without further ado, let's just talk about the next winner in Zoe. And I do think straight up, I am higher on Zoe as an overall character, to where while is she still in my lower half of characters that I would have probably, but at least as a winner I can respect the fact that at least she was there, at least she was the main character of her season. Mind you, she's just not the most likable character. I mean, no, she is likable. It's just the issue that I have with Zoe is just she's pretty boring in my opinion. To where while obviously yes, she's the star of the season, she does play a relatively dominant game, and if this was a winner ranking based on gameplay, obviously you've already seen that video, you already know where she was at. But yeah, I think Zoe, honestly, as a winner and as the storyline goes, yes, she is the main character of her season. The issue is obviously she's just not that enjoyable to watch. Again, a lot of people like to say that she was oblivious, which, I mean, at a certain point she was, but it's not like she can really just be like to Mal, being like, hey, you're a different personality because of certain things you said. Obviously, like, the necklace thing was the main push, but it's like, I don't understand what people really wanted Zoe to do in that situation. Obviously, yes, she is still very low for that reason, being insanely oblivious. But it's like Alejandro literally could have said many times, being like, hey, Mike is Mal, blah, 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 here's all the facts and the evidence. Even after, like, the challenge is over, I still feel like Alejandro could have just pulled up the video and showed everybody. But, I mean, this is All-Stars we're talking about. They're not going to really do all that for Alejandro, so yeah, there's that. With Zoe, all around, really, all I can say is that while, yes, she is the main character of her season, I just personally wasn't a big Zoe fan, and I'm still really not, to where, if this was a winner ranking based on how much I like them as overall characters, I mean, she would probably be actually lower on the list. She would probably be just above Wayne, and that's not saying too much, as I obviously hate Wayne. So yeah, with all that being said, Zoe is here. The next winner that we will be talking about is a winner who, honestly, I just keep getting more down about whenever I truly think about him, and this is Duncan. And straight up, I did not expect Duncan to be this low on the list. Obviously, I do have massive issues with him as a winner, but I felt like in action, at least he was kind of a likable character, until I got some scenes for this video. Then I realized that he was just a massive dick on this season. I mean, I always knew this, but it's like, he just became very unlikable in that sense, to where Island Duncan, yes, he was a jerk, but at least Duncan still had some funny moments, still redeeming moments with his relationship with Courtney, his friendship with DJ and Jeff, and at least his antagonization of Harold was at least semi-funny. But this season, Harold just became a lot better of a character than him, to where I was honestly Team Harold during the entire rivalry, and I think most people can agree that Harold was just so much better in action than Duncan was. Again, his relationship with Courtney does also tank it for me, at least, because I feel like their dynamics just did not work on this season, to where while yes, they were interesting to watch, they weren't that likable on screen. And to where on this winner ranking, I'm kind of just ranking them kind of based on likability. It's like, honestly, I think Duncan should be a bit lower than Zoe, honestly. To where, like, yes, he is the main character of his season, but it's like he plays the game terribly. He also just treats a lot of the more likable characters also terribly, and I don't think that he really is a satisfying winner overall, unless you just really like Duncan as a character and don't really care about the story arc. And another thing is that he's a massive writer's pet too, and it's so much more evident than other cases of a Mike, of a Zoe, of a Owen, of a Wayne, to where it's like, why is he staying over Lashana? Why is he staying over Justin? Why is he staying over Lindsay? Why is he staying over Harold? Again, a lot of people like to shit on Beth, but at least Beth was at least a character who was actually doing stuff in the game. Duncan was actively just not accepting alliances. He was actively not accepting, like, people to trust, honestly, which is honestly just so weird to me, because Duncan and Island was actually a good player. On the season, he just plays actively terribly. Not to mention, I just feel like Lashana had a better story arc going for her. Justin had a better story arc going for him. Not really, though, but at least Justin was funny. Lindsay obviously has a great redemption arc for the season, to where if she had won, she would probably be number 2 or 3 on the list. I mean, it's cool that the show does show Duncan, like, have a reason for bullying Harold this time around, because Harold obviously rigged the votes against his girlfriend last season, but it's like, at least he should have just been like to Harold, yo, this is why I hate you so much, blah, blah, blah. Obviously, he does other things to show why he hates Harold as well, but it's like, I don't know, man. Duncan in action was just not that good of a character. He is here at number whatever. Moving on, we're finally completing a season, actually. And speaking of action, we do have the other winner of Total Drama action, and that is Beth. And I think Beth is kind of like the Meg of Total Drama, to where it's like, while obviously she's not the worst character in the world, it's like she is a punching bag for a lot of the fan base. And I do think it is unwarranted, to where I do feel like Beth is at least a solid character, probably would be around my C tier or B tier. But it's like, she still lacks a lot of qualities that make me really stan her and really enjoy her. I mean, she's not really the most integral person to action. I think neither of the finalists are, but at least Duncan was there more. He was more prominent in the show, even though for mostly negative reasons, obviously. But it's like, Beth only really had her friendship with Lindsay, which was obviously, I guess, decent to watch, even though, like, I'm not really the biggest Beth stan, but at least it's cool to see Lindsay on screen. But it's like, I don't know. Her relationship with Brady was just so weird to me. Again, it did provide some comedy moments, yes, but it's like Beth also cheats on him multiple times. I mean, she doesn't physically cheat on him with Justin, but it's like Beth clearly wants to. She clearly wants to cheat on Justin. She literally like compliments him every chance she gets. She makes googly eyes at him. She literally, I think, outright says that she wants Justin or whatever. Like, how Justin is a dream or something like that. And she actively does kiss Harold. Beth is the first contestant of Total Drama that actively cheats on their partner, which unfortunately becomes a common trend for some reason on this show. But yeah, the fact that Brady doesn't care and just like there's no ramifications for that at all, and Beth is supposed to be made as this great person, which yeah, obviously compared to Duncan, I think most people are going to look like a great person, but it's like Beth still has a lot of flaws. And honestly, I think it would have been nice to see Brady just break up with Beth on the spot just because of that, but whatever. I mean, I don't really have that much else to say about Beth. Like, she's pretty bad as a winner, but it's like, I don't know what you really want me to say. Beth is here. Alright, if you really know me personally, you know I don't really like this character, but I mean, they were absolutely incredible in the season that they won, and it's Owen. Obviously, I think this might be a shock to people who clown on me for hating comic relief characters, which obviously Owen is pretty bad throughout the majority of his later seasons, but it's like on Island, Owen was a really likable character. He has a lot of the WTF humor that I really enjoyed, and even though yes, he was farting a lot during Island, at least they did some humorous stuff with that, so at least there's that. That's pretty great. I just feel like Owen was really funny throughout the season, and unlike the other winners that we have talked about, at least its ending is satisfying. At least, even though I do have issues with it, obviously, I think other characters like Gwen, Lashana, maybe even a Duncan, you could argue DJ, Lindsay, Jeff, should have won or should have went a lot further than Owen. It's like, at least I don't have that much issues with it, because Owen was at least a prominent character. So, yeah, there's not much to really say. There are issues with Owen, like his relationship with Izzy, which I feel like is not really highlighted enough. There's only really, like, what, the Stucky Outdoors, I think when Heather was talking trash about Izzy and Owen literally pops off on her, which was honestly pretty cool to see like a comic relief character actually just snap. And I do think there are small moments where Owen does show that he's not just a comic relief character, which unfortunately goes away throughout his later seasons, to where he talks about it with Heather being like, I just feel like not a lot of people understand me, you know, I'm a really deep person. And I honestly wish we could have seen more of that in Island, because I feel like Island is kind of the season where a lot of the characters' personalities, like personal stuff, gets really fleshed out, but unfortunately they just never did with Owen. But I'm glad they put a little moments here and there. Again, I like Owen in Island. I think he was a solid character, and that's kind of why I put him above the likes of a Duncan, of a Beth. So yeah, he's here. And the final winner we will be talking about in this video is a winner who I feel like a lot of people say that I should have just put on the bottom immediately because they weren't really playing the game for most of the season, but I don't really care about that. It's Mike. And I saw many people in the comments kind of clowning me for not including Mike in part 1, when it's like, was Mike really a part of the season playing the game? No, but unlike the case where the surfers were eliminated, they weren't in any of like, what, 5 episodes? And then for someone like Wayne was just barely there. There's not really much for me to say about those two, and they weren't really the most likable characters in my mind. Mike was one of the 2 leading characters in Total Drama All-Stars, and in my opinion, I really did enjoy like watching Mike throughout the entire season. Again, obviously the MPD stuff, obviously I don't have MPD, obviously like it is something that apparently wasn't shown accurately, which obviously does kind of temper my opinion, because that just feels a little bit icky to kind of misconstrued like a I don't want to say illness. I don't really know what to call a disorder, essentially. But But it's like, I still do like watching Mike as a character. Again, like, Mike was one of my all-time favorite characters as a kid, and I still do have that nostalgia love for him still. I do feel like his entire storyline of regaining control against Mal is something just incredible to watch. Also, I'm kind of including Mal in this, but, like, not really. But, again, the entire rivalry between Mike and Mal is just something that I really do like, but I think the show should have highlighted it way much more. Again, 13 episodes is not enough for an All-Star season, and All-Stars in general is a season which All-Stars just had really poor writers. I mean, Ed McDonald had no reason to write All-Stars in general, but I guess that's whatever. And I just feel like the main reason why Mike is here is because it's kind of just lackluster. Obviously, he wins the season. Obviously, he regains control. But it's like, I kind of just feel empty afterwards. It's like, there's nothing really there for me to set. There's nothing for me to really dive on. Unlike with a winner that we will be talking about later in, like, a Heather or the Police Cadets. At least those people have arcs, and at least I can, like, be very satisfied with their wins. But obviously for Mike, there's not that much for me to say. Mike is here. And that is really just the video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you guys so much for making it further. I'm really enjoying going back to making videos. I am starting to rewatch, like, Back in Action for the Next Generation retrospective, if you guys are excited about that. Because I really do want to talk about Total Drama Next Generation more, because obviously I've been ranting a lot throughout most of my Total Drama videos, and I haven't really got the chance to talk about this Venture Camp because my computer is kind of messed up right now. So obviously there's that, but yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, thank you guys so much for supporting me, and yeah, peace out, love y'all.